hitting
Nothing's
that
going,
territory.
oh, no, why didn't you?
Yeah.
One day my children's children will get to play with the nostalgia costumes.
One day.
One day.
And maybe their kids will see a good Zarya skin.
Maybe one day they will.
There it is.
One day, your children will be playing with the nostalgia costumes, but it won't really matter because they'll be used to...
Street Fighter will be dead.
No, it won't. It'll just be function versus function.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God.
Oh, we're finally here. I've been waiting weeks
Didn't
for
this
this
happen? Yeah, maybe, whatever. We're on time as always.
Okay.
Well, the last week you didn't have news. And
Yeah,
when I ran into Wooly... I think it was Tuesday of last week because I wasn't on last week's podcast because I didn't go to the con. I'm like, please tell me you didn't talk about function versus function. And he goes, no, we didn't actually have news last week at all. And I go, oh, thank God.
So function versus function 3.
Oh, shit.
Is the new
Oh, you haven't seen the video?
I haven't seen this video.
Oh, it's so good.
It's the new fighting game brought to you by
God,
Capcom.
this is amazing.
Okay, so basically someone made
So glad that there's a fucking PC version of Marvel so people can make Combo Fiend look like a fool.
So look, Combo Fiend's a great guy, but that's
one of the dumbest things.
Well, you know what the problem is? The problem.
Oh, wait, you need to back up because we're talking about...
I know,
I'm
exactly. I'm trying to establish the story here. So the problem is that when you get into the PR job role, like you're pretty much like on the chopping block, and you're going to say something dumb.
You say. Yeah.
See, we have the pleasure of like being able to own the dumb things we say.
Yeah,
sort of.
No, I know what you mean.
But if we have to represent any official product and say the right things, God damn it, you're going to say some dumb things sometimes. And so, unfortunately, Combo Fiend made the mistake of basically explaining away the lack of favorite characters being, basically the lack of fan favorites,
Marvel fan
returning,
favorites, yeah,
but also new characters showing up. So it's a weird thing where returning characters are in the game, but A, they're not the ones a lot of people were looking for,
yeah,
and B, the ones people who wanted new characters, I'm in that camp,
also didn't get what we wanted either. For.
So there's an interview where Combo Fiend sat down and basically explained that basically these characters are functions and that Magneto is liked and is popular because he has an 8-way dash.
And he's got triangle jumps.
And triangle jumps, exactly.
But don't worry.
Because Captain Marvel and I forgot who Nova also have that. So
look, it's like Magneto never left.
It should be fine, right? And it's like completely sort of sandbagging the part where people that are not top players
there's a couple things wrong with that, and there's the surface level one, but there's the part that everybody forgets about because later on Combo Fiend goes on to talk about how a bunch of new players probably don't even remember or know who the X-Men are.
Well, that's the second part of the story.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like
so like, the thing that's really I guess what sucks is that like this is a statement that actually can
in a
apply.
highly specific vacuum.
I get what he's trying to go for.
So it actually can and does apply to the top 32.
So about 30 people in the world.
It applies to definitely your competitive top players, and it explains. People want Doom rocks. People want Doom
they
missiles.
Want the type of gameplay or scenarios they're familiar with from
exactly
the games.
Right, and it's in the same way that he's like gems replace your assist character. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. You're looking for these functions and maneuverability because if you're a keep away character player, you want to play those guys. So Filipino champ probably going to play keep away characters no matter what form they come in. It's not necessarily because Filipino champ grew up reading Dormammu comics.
No, that's probably actually extremely the case,
right? So
he did not.
So that's what he was basically referring to. But the problem is that when people are looking for answers because they don't see what they are looking for from the pre-release footage, you shouldn't give the answer that applies to just only the top players.
And not even that, but it's like the answer that only applies to those top players and is inherently dismissive of everyone who is not those people.
So there's a lot of people that don't care about the AOA dash. They actually want to use Magneto.
Well, that's the thing, that the reason why I love this whole stupid comment so much is that if this was Street Fighter V, if this was Killer Instinct, if this was whatever, that would be one thing. But we're talking about a goddamn crossover game between two companies. The whole genesis of before hyper fighting existed. The reason why you have a versus game is because I want to see Wolverine fight Ryu. Period.
So I got into this
stop.
I got into this a bit on my Twitter earlier, but yeah, effectively, I will say like I'm in Guilty Gear, I'm waiting for Biken, right?
Yep.
In Injustice, I want Grundy. He's not there. Oh, that sucks.
Right.
But when when your game is a crossover or an all-star game, if you're Smash Brothers or Marvel, like the
roster's 90% of the appeal.
It's more than just the picks.
Yeah,
you know,
like even Smash, like it pulls from all over, so you want your characters.
Well, basically, you're cashing in on the all-star IP roster. That's what allows your game to be way more popular from the get-go than another game with the exact same gameplay.
No one cared that Crash Bandicoot wasn't in All-Star whatever the fuck that was called, because I wanted his spin. They wanted Crash because he's a
the iconic PlayStation 1 character
for like years.
And so that's what it is if you choose to go the route of like, using the pluses of a giant all-star cast, you have to then respect that it comes with what you might see as your minuses, but people want representation of lots of shit. And the idea that, we're seeing a lot of recycled cast here, it might be explained away by the fact that they're like, hey, we have a limited budget for now, and slowly we're going to reveal new
And also,
stuff.
a lot of the Marvel picks are very clearly associated with like Marvel's desire to push certain things.
Which is understandable, but the Capcom ones make less sense. And if a
lot less.
And if it's all based on budget restrictions, if it's all based on just the fact that we don't have the money to make a bunch of new characters, then you should probably look at it as a situation where if you're going to come out, get a lot of bad press because of...
Is it worth it?
Why not wait?
Or, I mean, if you're going to use the same characters again because whatever, they already exist, why don't you use the older, better-looking models for a lot of those characters, like Dante?
If time is the constraint, where you like, we got to make these, and it's not just about like, we got to make money off of the game first before we can afford those characters, then it makes no sense.
I'll tell you
it
why.
out this early.
Because this game has to exist before Infinity War Part 1 comes out.
It does.
Period.
It does.
That's the reason.
Because some characters are going to die.
And when you're making a deal with Marvel, I imagine they're like, so this is going to be out in time for the movie, right? Because if not, fuck it.
No, that's not inherently true. Spider-Man Homecoming, it's going to be years after the fucking movie's out.
Yeah.
But that's Sony making that deal, not Capcom.
It's true.
And also, Sony is has part ownership rights of Spider-Man as well.
Also true.
So, I mean, this was spurred on by my response to somebody, but like, there were multiple people that were just like, "What's the deal with the fuck you, Chris?" Like Leon comments and stuff that I was making, and it's well, I mean, I'm surprised I have to explain this, but it has nothing to do with Leon. Actually, Leon,
in fact, they should honestly probably have nigh identical movesets, with kicks replacing punches
or something.
Whatever you do, the point is that we haven't seen Leon represented in any shape or form.
And I personally care more about Leon.
Yeah, sure. Right? But
a lot of people do. He's the most popular Resident Evil character.
But I would say the same about Jill if she showed up again. I'd be like, why are we getting two versions of Jill?
See, here's the thing.
And not Claire.
Is Jill on the leaked list?
No.
If Jill showed up and she was still in her RE5 blonde thing, I'd spit on my TV. I'd be like, why? This is so outdated and lame. And Chris is the same way. It's still his RE5.
It's the RE5 version of Chris.
Have we not?
But Jill's even a bit worse because she had both versions.
She has a million different looks, too.
No, but what I mean is MVC2 had old Jill.
It had RE1 Jill,
because, it could have had RE3 Jill, I think.
It could have.
right? But it didn't.
Yep.
Because
So why
They went
do
for
that
classic.
again? Why not go and
I even saw you-
and Resident Evil. What?
I even saw you today talking about like why isn't Spencer just Super Joe?
It makes no sense, and that's why I'm trying to say that it's bigger than my personal picks. It's bigger than anyone's personal picks. If you like Dante, that's cool, but he shouldn't be there.
Or why
I
isn't
don't
it?
think
Why
Dante
isn't it
should be
Nero?
there anymore.
If he shouldn't be there, even though he's iconic and represents Devil May Cry, when Nero hasn't shown
You
up.
got every single important Devil May Cry character in
And
at some point,
even fucking Dino is in All-Star Racing.
except for Nero.
So here's the weird part.
and Nero would be a genuinely cool new type of. He could have grab
The
moves.
roster of Capcom Fighting Evolution understood this point better than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite does.
You're sadly correct.
It makes no sense that this fucking forgotten bad game.
It's we joke about it. The Capcom Fighting Evolution is a bad game. It is a not good fighting game.
Yeah.
especially by their standards.
But because it nailed down the rule set of how characters, it was like 3 per franchise.
It was
it
it
not?
was 4. It was
4?
it was like they go Street Fighter 2 and it would have
Then it had
Ryu
Street
and
Fighter-
Chun
then it had
Li
Street Fighter 3.
and then they'd have Urian and so and so.
so on and so
Alex.
forth. But they understood this better because the roster choices
Yes,
were
4,
so
yeah.
much more unconventional. This was the first time since Third Strike that we saw Urian come back.
That's way less characters than I remember,
Right?
though.
They picked Red Earth characters out. And got them into the mix, but you weren't just seeing the usual.
And they fucking somehow resisted the urge to put fucking Morgan in the game.
They literally have Darkstalkers. 4 characters are in the game. None of them are Morrigan.
Jetta is in there.
You understand? It's Street
You
Fighter
understand.
is represented by fucking Yun Urian, Alex, and Chun Li.
Now,
You know,
I want to be. I want
Street Fighter 3.
to give Combo Fiend one small. I don't know, not props, but like, Combo Fiend is in an unenviable position in which he's given a shit sandwich and told to eat it in front of everyone.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's not entirely his fault. It
It's
sucks.
it's really easy to make fun of the particular way that he decided to eat that shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there must have been a better way than to tell people they
phrase it
don't
or
know
something.
who the X-Men are.
because a lot of young audiences might have forgotten.
That's
There's a
ridiculous.
fucking X-Men movie every
But Marvel
other
doesn't want to
year.
hear that. Marvel doesn't want to hear that there are super popular X-Men movies that they have no part of. Right?
Anyway, so it's just your game, like your choices of roster matter a lot to people, and the idea that you're going to just play it safe and not be at all
Like, on that
adventurous with your picks is going to really bump people
So here's the
out.
thing. On that roster, there was one new character that I'm excited about. and
Black
it's-
Panther?
No, it's the Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Right?
That would
And
be very different.
I'm fully aware that me and maybe 2 other guys care that Monster Hunter will be there.
I thought it was interesting to see Jeddah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was about to say.
I thought that was
I
pretty
don't
cool.
even like anything about Darkstalkers, and I've for the longest time been like, Jetta's cooler than most of the other Darkstalkers characters. Like evil devil Jesus with the blood attacks, like he's cool.
And when I sum it all up in my head, like the one thing that, like, because Marvel looks weird already, it has that like issue of like, you know, the visual style,
models,
the faces look off and shit like that. The biggest thing it had going for it was a solid roster that gets people excited, even if it has a weird graphical style.
and as of right now, it's like it doesn't now.
As of right now, it has mostly the same roster as 3, but with way less characters and a bunch of weird ones that I don't like.
I'd
You're care
honestly
about.
say, like it sucks for anyone that likes them, but it's like take out anyone from Bionic Commando, take out anybody that's from the Ghost and Goblin. Like they had their time, and you were saying like, can we not get one fucking Power Stone character? There's a million of them, and they've been in nothing.
And
they were. Have any of them been in any versus fighting
No.
games ever? Okay, great.
And
yeah, actually.
Wait, what?
SNK versus Capcom Card Fighters Clash.
All right, that's fine.
Fair enough.
But like, I remember thinking, like, I remember we made the jokes for years. Like, well, the next Marvel game, come on, Gene. Gene's the only Clover guy that didn't get his time shot. And like that speculation, even right before Marvel Infinite, now looks like ridiculous. Like, no, forget Gene as an
Yeah.
outside pick.
So
What about like Beautiful Joe?
So there's a very strong possibility.
Dark Void.
There's a very strong possibility that there are interesting choices that are time locked behind season 2.
That's a mistake.
You know?
Shuffle them.
But in the meantime, you're tying a bow around the baton and handing it to Dragon Ball. Like, all the hype that people want to have
everyone
in
going,
you.
Trunks!
Yeah.
When he's the same.
And you know he's Trunks. And you know Trunks is going to be there. But Trunks! Yeah. That's exactly you are handing the hype over to Dragon Ball.
And you look at like even our subreddit, right? And there's a little article that's like it's just a fucking image macro set of like zoom ins on Dante's face or what, it's just shit post.
How many Twitter avatars are just Dante's weird
directly
face?
Underneath that is, check out this animatic a guy made where it shows that they're going manga panel by manga panel during Vegeta's
Final
Super
Flash. Yeah,
right?
I love that.
Fuck.
And then in the top corner it says 20%.
Yeah. The other thing about like Combo Fiend's statement is that like it appeals to the top 32, but there's a problem in the PR and the marketing of this game where what's the demo that goes up on the fucking PlayStation Store and everything? It's the fucking story mode demo, which is clearly meant to get casuals interested. You can't even play versus.
And the story mode is about what? It's about hey, Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins. I'm Thor. I love you.
And like hitting you in your ribs, going, remember all these characters? So it's like, who do you want to appeal to now? Like Street Fighter V is like a problem where you relate to the game to appeal to casual people, and like people were already kind of like not into it.
It's evident in the strategy because the demo went up on the store to show off that they have a story mode akin to Injustice, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. And then the tournament, the next major, had a kiosk with versus mode set up.
Right.
But they're kind of locking that down in the sense that like they want you to experience that at a tournament in a controlled environment. They don't want that necessarily just out there as of yet. And I guess like I don't know why you think that would work better, because I think people.
Oh no, I'm not saying.
Not you. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know why Capcom thought that was the right move, because I feel like people getting hyped for your game.
Put out the fucking demo that has all the fucking easy to screen cap like derp faces. All the
most of that is going on, and then the thing
like we made a video out of it. It was easy.
And the thing that people would probably have the most fun with would be like a limited versus mode. Is not what you put out. It's just weird. I don't know. I mean, admittedly, not everyone has a friend to go play with, so playing versus mode alone would suck.
And then online is for a demo, it's probably out of the question to get that.
But yeah, there's just too many like
I don't know
odds and ends that are like weird.
I'm genuinely confused by this, because Capcom and their fighting division and all that stuff, or whoever they get to make their games, like they're better than what is coming out on this. Like, what is the deal? Why is it got to be like this?
And here's what I'll finally say is that even if there was no plans for an interesting roster surprise right at the moment.
We have no plans for interesting characters.
Then the backlash that's happening now will almost guarantee one is going to hit the pipeline.
In the DLC later.
But that's going to be starting now at the soonest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Listen, we need weirdos in the cast. Okay, when will they be out? In 5 months. Right? Like,
it's going to be way
4 months after the game's release.
Way down. So, yeah, man, I really do hope. Because there was that one Capcom employee that they spoke to that basically went, yeah, it's kind of
not great.
The quote, I think the quote was basically like, oh, like hard to look at or something along those lines. Like they kind of
our roster is hard to look at.
They got it out of him. Well, they got it out of him.
Here's the thing, right? You take me for an example as the casualist level of a Marvel fan. I was right there with you in that very a prophetic or fateful evening where we bought Marvel 3 in Verdun, right?
I remember this. What happened?
There's video.
Okay.
But why was I there? Not because I like hyper fighting. I actually actively dislike hyper fighting games. I was there because Marvel 3, holy crap, look at these characters that I've never been able to play in anything. Look at this version of Dante that I can fuck around. This is awesome. This is going to be so much fun to just go hang out with Wooly at a thing and just see all these crazy characters and their win quotes and all that shit. And I'm getting none of that from this. Number one, because so many of the characters overlap. I already got that out of my system. I already got the hilariousness of fucking new Bionic Commando Spencer's a fighting game character, and he screams out Bionic Arm. That's hilarious. That's also like 5 years old. Like I need if for people that are going to get a versus game due to novelty, which is I'm going to assume is actually relatively similar to people that are going to get a Dragon Ball Z fighting game, even though they don't like fighting games because they like Dragon Ball. That novelty is paramount, and I'm feeling no novelty here. I don't give a shit about Ultron.
I also don't.
He's the weakest movie villain of them all.
It's kind of like it actually needs to be firing on all cylinders for the roster, because it's like if they announce the Punisher's in it, I think I've stated before, I don't even really care.
Punisher should replace Chris.
I'd rather see Punisher in the story mode and make dumb comments on how dumb everyone is rather than be in the game, because he just shoots things, and I'm tired of the.
If Punisher was in the game, he should take Chris's spot and share most of his move list.
I guess maybe, but like it. Each one has to be that. Each one, like the Capcom side, has to be, Ryu can be in there. I'm actually really sick of Ryu. I'd rather Ken be there by now, or some other Shotokan. I don't know who.
Sure.
Sakura, the new main character of Marvel 3, Marvel 4, Marvel whatever.
It's got to have a Power Stone character. It has to have Jean. It has to have...
You don't have to bring Frank West back. You can, you know what I mean? Like,
fuck no.
You can go with any other protagonist from Dead Rising.
Frank West coming back is extra crazy because it goes into the thing you're talking about. Like, how come we got multiple versions of Jill? Well, you also still got multiple versions of Jill because Frank West is just MVC2 Jill.
3 versions of Frank West now, by the way.
I wouldn't mind Chuck. Like, it's the same thing, but at least it's
like clearly different. They like that character type where the zombie walks across the screen when you hit your move. But
so I guess my one thing that comes to mind too is because
we got X though. We got X. Everyone should.
It's cool
us.
Now. We finally put X in the game. Finally.
So we are like totally just like this is just bullshitting. This is just bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like, right. But I feel as if with enough negative feedback after a reveal, if this was a Capcom game and only Capcom, they might even have the ability to go, okay, hold on, hit the brakes. Let's do some shit.
Let's rework some crap.
Let's do some shit. Right?
I think with Marvel too.
It's pretty soon. It's coming out pretty soon.
It's coming
so
out like
it's
3
very
months.
close, but they might be able, like, it would have been, but the fact that Marvel's tied in complicates things, I would assume.
Well, the fact that there's so many movie characters in it means that this is somewhat tied to the movie scheduling.
Which they specifically said that like they were going to avoid doing, especially now that the Marvel guys in charge of the Marvel games came from the same Capcom.
It's still going to be a year away before the movie even comes out.
Yeah, but then it'll be,
so then
you can have the Thanos DLC pack or whatever.
If your bottom dollar is the only one that you're worried about as a company, then like you can stop to make your thing better and whatnot. But you're tied in with someone else. It complicates the range. Like I'm sure they have a license deal that ranges from here to here. And what was it? Marvel Heroes? They took some characters out of that because the license expired.
It's a Fantastic Four.
Fucking crazy, Can that happen with this game? Can we suddenly
not
download
that there's ever been a fucking Fantastic Four character in the game other than I guess Super Skrull? But
better than Fantastic Four. It's all 4 in 1.
It's all 4 in 1. That's why they did it. But still.
Do you think that might actually be one of the reasons why the X-Men are not in there, just in case, because they would get timed permission from Fox, and then Fox would pull it?
Matt Dahlgren said they have the ability to use those characters if they wanted.
That's ridiculous.
If that's true, then double what the hell? Not a one X-Man.
And I get keeping them locked behind a season 2 or whatever, but one of them should be like Wolverine.
But even then, like if it's just functions, like Mr. Combo Fiend says, then where's Wolverine's replacement moveset?
Someone has a dive kick.
Who has Berserker Barrage?
No one.
Maybe Black Panther.
Fuck! It is so gonna be Black Panther. You're super right.
Like I'll play Black Panther. I'd be happy, but
and if you enter in codes on the sound test, for some reason he uses the old Berserker Barrage sound clip
from like the cartoon.
Yeah,
have Morph doing the round 1 fight.
I don't know, man. Like a crossover game should be all hype and no substance, and that's fine.
Yeah,
and we're getting some substance, I guess,
and
no hype out of this, and it's disappointing.
Like, I didn't even want Hagar in this. If you,
and I say
put
that as
some other Final Fight.
I say that, by the way, as a casual fan. It's like, if the game came out and it was terrible, that's fine, because I'm just gonna play it with my little action figure dolls to have the characters fight. But like, I don't know.
We should all make our dream rosters and come back next week with our homework done.
Well, this really, I think the thing that just gets me the most is, like, I look at Infinite coming out, and if I had never played any versus game, right, ever, I would look at Infinite's roster and look and feel, and then I would look at the $10 copy of Ultimate Marvel 3 on the PC or whatever, and go, oh, that's the sequel, right?
Yeah. Because they don't let, well, I mean, it has 3 in the title, but Infinite.
But you know what I mean, right? It has twice as many characters with more picks, and it has what I find is a way better art style. And it's 1/6 of the price.
Maybe one day, some years down the line, we'll end up with something that's the equivalent of MVC2 with just the giant Mugen screen. But
the problem with that is that was during a time where Marvel was like, fuck it, just take all our characters, don't give a shit. But now there's too many fucking hands in the pies, there's too many license holders, and like, you'll never get that.
Like, you know what I would have been really happy with? You know, you see that the characters' faces, and this version of Chun-Li doesn't look good. I would actually be fine with a version of Marvel Infinite that looked abjectly terrible, but only if it was because of they MVC2'd it, in which they just grabbed the model that
just shoved it in.
Like, the Monster Hunter model is from the 3DS.
Yeah.
Right?
Just clash of the most ridiculous
clash
styles.
of art styles.
Like, I want the equivalent of the Morrigan sprite, but with 3D characters.
If you lean into it as your entire game's design choice,
Jean is just the PS2 model.
if you lean into it, I can't even fight that. You're right.
Like, that would crack me up. That would be hilarious.
But
Like,
also,
the Dark Void guy is on Unreal 3, so his textures always load in. It would
also be kind of cool in this wacky way.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. I don't even hate that.
No, it's not bad.
But speaking of substance, let's shift gears.
Okay.